Hey everybody, this is Erica, the technology nerd who likes to film stuff, and I asked you all a few questions. I asked one on Twitter and I also asked one on Google+. That being, would you like it if I did a weekly Q&A session? The idea would be for me to eventually do it live, something that I could post to YouTube live, have live questions, that type of thing, but I'm not used to this format yet. But at least from the feedback that I've gotten already from asking the question on Twitter and also on Google+, is that, yeah, you would like me to do a question and answer session. Some of you say, you don't upload enough. I know, I spend so much time making very in-depth videos, but at the same time, I don't just take a second to make a video like this just to chat with you and be myself. So I would really love to do that, and this is probably a really great way of doing it. And also, you guys already asked me a couple of awesome questions, and I would like to get to those, so let's try this. Let's see if this is any good, or if I just suck. I don't know. So the first thing that I have to approach is, what do I call such a series, as this will probably be a Q&A series. I've thought maybe Erica elaborates. Some other people said Erica inquires or inquire Erica, and other people just said just call it Ask Erica, make it simple. So I don't know, maybe you can all comment down below and we can figure out what to call this thing. Hopefully something kind of catchy, at least that's my hope. Anyhow, I want to get to the very first question. This is probably the most asked question ever since I have started doing this is, what is your daily driver and what is your most favorite phone? Well, honestly, I don't really have a daily driver. Whatever my daily driver is usually the phone that I am testing at the moment, and that is the Xperia Z2. Although if I'm being honest about the Xperia Z2, I travel to France a lot to see my fiance. So I need to have a device that has all the LTE bands possible, all the GSM bands possible, and this phone actually has that. So this one is kind of being my little pocket buddy for right now, and I will be using it as my daily driver in France. What I need from a phone is a phone that has all the antenna bands that I need, because like I mentioned, I do travel a lot, although that's not something that people would typically need. And do I have a most favorite device of all time? No, honestly, not really. Some people are asking, oh, come on, you have to be biased about something. If you were stranded on a desert island and you could only take one phone with you for the next 2 years, although honestly, if I was stranded on a desert island, I wouldn't want a phone that isn't going to do very much for me with no reception. Anyway, that point aside, I honestly don't know which phone I would use for the next 2 years. Some of you think that I am lying to you, and I am not. I like some things from this phone, I like some things from that phone, but I just can't pick only one device in all honesty. I think that's why I do this job. I couldn't decide what device I wanted personally, so to satisfy my OCD with needing, ooh, shiny, something pretty, always, I kind of just did this reviewing thing, and now I have an excuse to be completely crazy and have 10, 20 devices at one time. It works. It really does work. So the next things that a smartphone must have is a nice display, although it's going to be really up to your opinion which display that you like the most. If you don't like the display on a device, you're probably really not going to like it. I don't even want to get into measurements and color accuracy and grayscale accuracy, because all of you are going to just tell me that it's subjective for you anyway. So yes, I need to have a display that I like, and also the device has to have a good camera, because how many of you actually pull out a DSLR? How many of you even have a DSLR? Most people these days just use their smartphone camera, and that's really their only means of taking pictures. So it also has to have a good camera. And also it's got to have good battery life. I am a very heavy user, and I really need to have a device that can last me through the day, which is actually what the Z2 was able to do, and that's another reason that I am keeping this one in my pocket for right now. And lastly, a device needs to be pleasurable to use. It can't have an interface that absolutely drives me bonkers, which is something that is happening right now with the likes of the Galaxy S5 or TouchWiz in general. I used to like it. You know, it was kind of pretty at first because the AMOLED really popped, but eventually I tend to more like very strictly towards Android, being very vanilla Android Nexus-y. I really like it that way. I don't like heavily skinned Android devices. So also, it's going to have to be how the interface is and how much I actually enjoy using that device. So for me, all of those things are what I need in order to desire a smartphone. It's really just some practical stuff. Phew, it is hot in here. That's the thing about studio lights, is that they just make you sweat. All right, so continuing on, the next thing that I get asked, probably almost as much as what my daily driver is how did you start doing this? How did you become a reviewer? And how do you get all of those devices? How do you get all of these and keep them? And people just think that it's something that I just magically get to keep things. First thing I want to say is that no, I don't get to keep everything that I borrow. Sometimes I do get to borrow devices. Once in a while I get to keep a device. But usually a majority of my devices I still have to purchase. I started doing this because my family is very large and everyone had cell phone contracts, and because nobody was a techie like me, no one ever used their upgrades. So I was on Verizon and I stole literally 3 or 4 upgrades in a year, and I ended up switching 3 or 4 phones until I got totally sick of Verizon. I had to have the Galaxy Note, so I went over to AT&T, and that kind of just really started my succession. Also, when I was in college, I had a minor in digital media production, so I just kind of started doing YouTube for fun, and then I started buying devices, and I started making hour-long video reviews. I had no idea if anyone would watch it. I just had to make a statement about something because some of the reviews that I watched just didn't explain everything that I wanted to know, so I had to just be super OCD. I said, hey, maybe I can do that too, so I tried it, and I did. And I'm very happy that I did because I just kept doing it, and you guys are so sweet and so supportive of me, and I am so incredibly grateful. So I have just continued doing this. I ended up with a YouTube partnership. I was able to use AdSense. I was able to monetize. And this is actually my job now. I ended up quitting Petco. That was what I was doing when I went to UCSD. So I quit Petco. I did this full time, and the money that I make from it, I purchase devices. This is honestly how it works. I purchase so many devices, and all of them are pretty much mine. I bought this. This was an $800 device. So I'm able to use it as a tax deduction at the end of the year, if that is really what you want to know. And the devices that I do get for free, nothing's ever free. I usually have to go out of the country to events like Mobile World Congress or go to CES where I meet with PR. And luckily, some of them have seen my stuff. And so they're like, hey, you're that, wow, for one thing, you're really short, but hey, it's nice to see you. I've seen your stuff. So, you know, and we talk for some time, and then they say, okay, yeah, well, keep in touch. And when we get our newest device, we'll send one to you. So generally, you're gonna have to buy your devices at first. You want to put all your heart and soul into this. Don't let anybody put you down. You really just gotta go for it. Just keep going and going. And then if you can go to certain events like MWC or CES, I recommend going and meeting PR because that's how you're really gonna get in with them and to get actual devices that you don't have to buy yourself. But even still myself, I still have to purchase devices. So moving on to strictly tech questions. I don't even know how long this video is. I am sure I'm going to time code it. The major thing that people are asking me right now is, why don't you have a OnePlus One device? Why have you not reviewed it yet? Well, for one thing, it has not been fully released to the general public yet. So it's not a finalized device, and things that people are finding wrong with it as they're reviewing it, it's usually because it's bugs. It's not a fully finished device yet. So I'm kind of hesitant to review a device that's not finished because if it's not a final product, I'm gonna have to just re-review it because it could change so much from one month to another. It's really not fair to do a review on a product that's not out there yet. The thing that I can tell you is that yes, I will be reviewing this device. By then, it's still not going to be old news because it hasn't been released yet. It's at an incredible price point. It's got great specs for that price point. And also, as a lot of you might not know, but my fiance is working on the display of that device, and he is a total display guru in terms of calibration, so we'll see what happens with that. But yes, this is a device that is near and dear to my heart for that reason. At least it's near and dear to his heart, so I need to get that device so I can be super critical of him and point things out. I'll be just a complete pain in the butt fiance, just saying, I don't like this, I don't like that. I have to be critical. I've got to knock him around here and there. So yes, I will have that device in some form or fashion. And also I know that right now I'm on the PR invite list. I was promised an invite from somebody. I don't know if what's on that PR list is from that person who invited me or if that's OnePlus One who's decided to put me on the list themselves. I'm really not sure. But yes, I will have that device. They're talking about late this month or next month. So I will definitely let you know. And when I get that device, I will be just as critical of that device as any other device. It doesn't matter that my fiance has worked on it. In fact, I'll probably be even more critical here and there just because I feel like I need to get rid of conflict of interest. The other thing that I want to talk about are the Prime devices. Some of you are asking, what do I think about those Prime devices? Well, a lot of things are speculation, some things are rumors, and I don't really like talking about speculations and rumors, but I can tell you what I think at this point. So for the HTC One M8 Prime, that's just the name has to go. It's most likely going to be something like the HTC One Max, which is something that they had last year. It was just a bigger device. So we might see a bigger device that's kind of like the HTC One M8, bigger display, maybe 5.5 inches, at least that is what I am hearing. As far as the internals, I can't say if it's going to be just like the M8, lower than the M8, or maybe even better than the M8. We just don't know. And from the renders that I'm seeing that the camera protrudes, so what I'm hoping for is that we have an HTC One M8 that's got a display that's very nice and big, like a lot of the displays that we're seeing out, like the Z2, like the S5, something that's 5.5 inches, probably phablet sized. I'm hoping that it has specs that are just like the M8 or even a little bit higher. Maybe we'll see the 805, maybe we'll see the 810 in terms of the SoC. But most of all, what I really want to see is a better camera. That would be kind of the end-all be-all justification for why I think that HTC needs to have a phone with a little bit more oomph. Because that camera on the HTC One M8 is just not cutting it. It's just so bad. I've taken so many images, I've taken video, and I've compared it to so many devices. And HTC, what have you done? The color rendering is terrible. Clouds look purple. Why would you have purple clouds other than during a sunset? No. It just does nothing good in terms of exposure. They shot themselves in the foot with it only being 4 megapixels. Why, HTC? Why did you do this? So I am hoping for an HTC One M8 Max or Prime or whatever they want to call it, just something that has a better camera. I would not mind having a little bit bigger of a display. And if the internals are the same or a little bit better, that would be great too. But really, I think the camera could save this device. As for the Galaxy S5 Prime, I really have no idea. It would not surprise me whatsoever because Samsung just completely infiltrates and floods the market with so many different devices from so many different price ranges and capabilities. So it would not surprise me whatsoever if they decided to say, nah, I don't really like the S5, let's just go ahead and make an S5 Prime and maybe it will make some people stop complaining. But so far we've seen a lot of fake things. We've seen fake renders, we've seen rumors galore. Does this device actually exist? I'm really not sure. Would I buy it though? No, I wouldn't buy it. Not if I was somebody who just got the Galaxy S5. And if any of you are waiting around because you don't want to quite buy the Galaxy S5, maybe you should wait until the Galaxy Note 4 comes out because I think that what we were expecting with the Galaxy S5, some of those higher end specs will probably make it into the Galaxy S4. I'm not waiting around for any of this nonsense Galaxy S5 Prime. I really don't care. But hey, for bloggers, it makes views, it makes money, it makes attention. And for Samsung, it's free marketing, so why not? Why not have this infamous chupacabra out there that we've never seen? So all I can say is I will believe it when I see it, although I have seen that the S4 Active has been leaked, and this one is a real Samsung device. The S5 Active, did I say S4 Active? The S5 Active, so we have seen that device. This guy's been saying that it's got a more pixel-dense display. I don't really believe that. We're gonna have to see how that plays out, but it's probably a Galaxy S5 that is just a ruggedized version that has an AMOLED display that's 1920 by 1080, but otherwise I don't really think we're gonna see anything that's so different with it other than it might be a little bit more water resistant. And this stuff about it having a barometer, well, you know what? Even the Galaxy S5 has a barometer. Even every single Samsung device that I have seen since forever has a barometer, so that's nothing new. And this new software that's being pointed out that I am seeing, it's probably going to be updated with the Galaxy S5. So just clickbait. Really, this is kind of a device that I'm seeing as clickbait. Woo! Did the lighting just suddenly change? I don't really know, but that's all right because that is what I wanted to answer. Those were the most pertinent questions, or at least most asked questions lately. But I want to answer so many more questions, and I would really appreciate is if I post something on Google Plus, if you could ask questions there, if you could upvote them, if it's something that you really want to know about. And overall, what I would like to do is do this live eventually. When I go to France, I'm going to be hanging out with my fiance, and he wants to do this live with me as well. So maybe you'll have a chance to see him. He's a real sweetie pie. I would like you to see him. So thank you everyone for humoring this. I hope to continue doing this, and have a good night.